Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, continuing our focus on the debates as it turned out, and also continuing beyond the floor of the Senate on the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. We're joined now by Ayo Atsenuwa, who is a professor of law, University of Lagos. Morning, and thank you for joining us. Well, this is a bill that many have different perspectives on. You also have heard some of the discussions and possibly gone through this bill. What's your impression of how it panned out on the floor of the Senate?
Pretty unfortunate, like most people have said. It's unfortunate the bill wasn't discussed around key issues. It wasn't rejected because anybody spoke to what was very defective about it. It's unfortunate that the lawmakers who spoke, especially the naysayers, I mean, it's unfortunate that they reflected a high level of misunderstanding. They reflected the very gender bias of parochial thinking that is the basis for why women have always suffered inequalities. What does the bill say? The bill asked for equal access to education, equal access to health, justice for widows, who we know within our system, fortunately against the backdrop of some of the customs that we espouse, are disadvantaged in such ways that is really abusive, in ways that in the 21st century, none of us should want to be part of. And those were the issues that some of the naysayers actually considered valid as a basis for which they rejected the bill. It is unfortunate that a lawmaker on the floor of the House who won the elections on the authority of the Constitution espouses that his religious values supplant the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that is a lawmaker. The bottom line is that there is respect for everyone's religion, but in a multicultural society, the reason we have a constitution is so that we all can live together. We cannot live by only one person's own religious values or some people's own religious values. And for someone to think that the law will so give freedom to his wife that she will just be moving about freely, it tells you the place where we are. It tells you the thinking of our lawmakers. It is so unfortunate.
Well, the senator also cited a certain section that spoke about widows, and he did say some of those areas are sensitive to Muslims and in the north. And he did say, well, yes, not that we don't like the bill to make a return, but they need to go work on those areas and then the bill can return. Were you satisfied with that?
Definitely not. The whole idea of a bill being debated on the floor of the House is to work through. Essentially, what that statement means is that go and take out what we don't want. When a bill comes before the House, when a bill comes before the Parliament, the idea is that it is debated here. That is when we will know the mood of the people. We cannot afford to have some people just be the gatekeepers. Now, if we had gone to public hearing, if Nigerians had put in, then we will know. But for it to be said that go and remove, or basically in nice words, go and take care of these provisions, it's like saying don't even raise them at all. Then how do we know what is the minimum that is acceptable to Nigerians when the gatekeepers decide what will even be discussed at all? Their lawmakers, their duty is to debate and represent the views in public, not to say, no, this issue will not be open to discussion at all until you put it out.
So what do you make of the talk of reconciliation, in the sense that a senator says the Constitution recognizes my religion and also protects it, and there's certain aspects of this bill that my religion is against? How do we reconcile that?
Well, he says his understanding of his religion is against it. He belongs to a religion that so many other Nigerians belong to, and they believe that their religion is not against that. So that one person says, my religion is against it, is not necessarily It doesn't necessarily prove that he is right. There are enough people of the same religion who think that that is not the true teaching of the religion, but that is the message that has been sent. And don't forget, our religions evolved in some cultural context, and they reflect some biases that are historical, and increasingly we are asking ourselves, what exactly would God have us do? Oh, we made a mistake, our forebears made a mistake. Our religion supported slavery. Did our religions not support slavery? They supported and they sustained slavery. But no one's going to say today, because we realized we made a mistake. Apartheid was supported by, the church. Nazism was supported by the church.
Well, Prof, now that, yes, it's a democracy, but now that the religious slant has been mentioned or introduced in this debate, do you still see it, or if it's maybe for some reason elevated to the level of public hearing, do you see it going smoothly?
You see, I think I believe that there is a tendency. Of course, there is a risk that it will not go smoothly. That is largely because the same people will whip up the sentiments. But the bottom line is that, are we going to forever be afraid? Are we going to be forever afraid? Sometimes the whole purpose of the public hearing is to educate the public. It's to help people. Are Nigerians going to be locked in ignorance? And so if they're ignorant, we say, okay, because they're ignorant, this is where we're going to be made forever. The whole idea of law is to raise behavioral level. And in a democracy, in a multicultural democracy, the whole idea of the democracy is to ensure that as much as possible, we make our country fair for everyone. We make our country values, reflect justice, a concern for everybody. In a democracy, we care about those who are abused. Now, the question is that the ultimate of every religion is to bring out the best for every individual. Now, if you know as a fact, and you have empirical evidence staring you in the face, that wrong is being done to people. Wrong is being done to children by subjecting them to marriage at an age that their bodies are not physically prepared for. And we know over time that beyond the physical damage, it is exploitation, because you're passing responsibility to them a time that they are not mature enough to take it. And so you're giving power effectively to someone else to just manage their life on his or her own terms. Then you ask yourself, is that what religion required ab initio? That is why we call them the gatekeepers. Those who have always had privilege will not readily. Those who have always had privilege will not readily give up privilege. And I think that the benefit of a public hearing is that Nigerians that also becomes a platform to share with people, for them to hear. We can't continue to foreclose discussions because of fear.
I think you just touched on a very important point there, talking about foreclosure. You've been on this drive, and for some people, they hate to call it a fight because they would have thought that it should be a given for rights and privileges and equality. What are those hindrances you see every time such matters prop up in terms of having equality for women?
Well, I would say that the most significant in the context of Nigeria is simply religion. And it is not because those who hold religion to ransom don't know better. It is because they exploit it. It is because they do not want to open. If someone says that my wife will be walking around freely around my home, it tells you that the person wants to hold his wife in subordination.